here is my catalog, and I am going to pick an image to kind of work with to show you how watermarks work. So here's one of my images from club this last week, this baseball one here. And I am going to go to edit in the menu up top, the menu bar, edit, and then all the way at the bottom is edit watermarks. And you don't have to necessarily be on a specific image to edit watermarks or create a watermark. But the way that I choose to use this feature is that I choose to create a new watermark for every photo. And I'll kind of get into that a little bit in a minute here. So I clicked on that edit watermark, and the watermark editor tool pops up. Up here in the top left corner, that's the name of the watermark that's currently showing. So I have this one that says copyright Tamra McGee, and it's named bottom left. Here's all the different presets that I've made. I've made these, I don't know, dozen presets in there. When I upgraded my Lightroom the last time, it got rid of a whole bunch of my presets. And I don't know if I did that intentionally or if it was something that it did, but I was glad it did because I had way too many in there, and this actually kind of helped me tone it down. So even though it says bottom left, that just is what I named that. So if I pick one that was named like, this was from my Grand Prismatic, you'll see that's a different watermark, and it's popping it right down here. Let's see. So if I just want to start, I don't, let's just say you don't have a graphic that you want to have for a watermark. Let's say that you want to do text. You want to type out what you want it to say. Right up here in the top right corner, you have the choice to choose if you want to insert your watermark as text or as a graphic. So I'm going to click on that graphic.
Tammy, hang on. I have on that right side, I have all of your little windows of your view, but I can't see what you're talking about. Can I move that one? Yo, never mind. I just moved that window. Okay.
You can minimize it too. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's what I was doing when we started, moving everything around.
Okay.
How did you move it? I got the same thing.
I just, I'm on a Mac, and I just clicked and held it and dragged it.
You can also hit the little line, and that'll minimize everybody. It'll essentially close it.
Got it.
All right. So I was pointing right up here in the top right corner. You can choose between text or graphic. If you choose text, you're going to type down in this box at the bottom what you want it to say.
What program are you in now? I just have your Grand Prismatic watermark editor. I have the football, but I don't know what other program to get into.
I'm still in Lightroom.
Oh, you're in Lightroom. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. When I went to that, I'll start over for you. When I went, here's my Lightroom picture. I went up to the edit menu, the edit tab in Lightroom, and then I selected at the bottom, edit watermarks.
Okay.
And it popped up the watermark editor.
Thank
and
you.
then I'm going to do text. And then down here, I can type what I want it to say. There's a command to make the copyright symbol. You hold down the Control and the Alt, and you type down the number 0169, and it will put up a copyright symbol. And then you can make it say whatever you want. So I could make it say Spokane Camera Club if I wanted it to. You don't have to put the copyright symbol in there. You can just have it just say Spokane Camera Club. So now I have the text for what I want it to say. So I can go up here back to the top right of this menu. We're not going to do image options. We would do that if we're doing a graphic or a picture. But in our text options, you have choice of all these different fonts that you can choose. And there's not really a quick way to go through them other than to just pick one, and then you can use your arrow keys to go up and down through them. I kind of like that one. That one's pretty good too. We'll go with that one. And then you can decide within that text box, do you want it to be aligned to the left, to the center, or to the right? I don't find that it really makes that much of a difference, to be honest. You can choose your color anywhere in the scale there. I don't know what this is called. You can pick your color. I usually either go with black or white, and that's why I have these two choices up here. And the reason I go with black or white is because you have a option to change the opacity. So rather than choose a gray, I just drag down the opacity on it, and that I feel like gives me the same effect that I'm looking for. So for this image, I think I'll go with white. Looks fine, so we'll just stick with the white. No, we'll go with black so you can see how the opacity works. Just kidding. So there I have it in black. And then down here, I can decide if I want it to have a shadow or not. And you can kind of see how that changes when I click the shadow on or off. If it has, oh, I'm sorry, this is a new feature. You can change the opacity of just the shadow, so you can see the shadow changing. And then you can change the offset of the shadow. And I don't know, I might need to make this bigger for you to see it. So here you can see the offset of the shadow is changing. It's going way up, kind of underneath the runner's foot there by the base. Or if I go all the way back down, it's pretty much right behind the words. The radius changes how far out from it is it going to spread. Sorry, my phone is going nuts. Let me turn this off. Been at work all day and been unreachable. Okay. So the radius changes the essentially the size of the shadow. From what I can tell, I don't know what that one really does, to be honest. I can see it changing a little bit, but I don't know. I can't identify exactly what is changing, but you can kind of see what is happening there. And then the angle moves the shadow. So if you want the drop shadow to be out at the bottom, you can move it to the bottom all the way around. 360 degrees you got there. If you don't want a shadow, you can unclick that box and not have a shadow. Then you have your option for your opacity, and that's just a slider, and you can see that there it's dulling down. So you can decide if you want that bold on your picture or do you want it a little more subtle. I think I'll go somewhere in there. And then the size. This slider I find is very sensitive. You don't move it very much to get big jumps. So I actually tend to use this more by typing in a number. I kind of just know based on my watermark graphic that I use, I just kind of know what numbers I like. But that looks like a decent size for this picture. And then your inset, I don't know what fit and fill does. Let's try. Fit makes it go all the way across the bottom. Fill takes up the whole page. Don't want that. We'll go with the proportional. The inset is going to move it off this edge. You see how the S is right stuck on that edge, and it's, you would hear a judge like Deke say, it needs more room to breathe on the side there. So I'll do my horizontal inset, and you can go quite a ways. But I'm going to go right about there, I think. And then you can also do the same thing to get it off the bottom edge if you want. I kind of I would experiment with whether this is the right placement for that. And right here is where you can decide where you want to place that watermark at. You can have it right in the center of your picture, or you can have it in one of the corners. It's just your own preference. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong way to do it. I don't know. I liked it kind of on the left now that I see it there. And I might inset it a little bit more to get it over into that green. I don't know. You can play with it. You can also rotate it. You can do it up the side. That's kind of cool too. That might work pretty well for this picture here. And then I would want to bring it up off the bottom there. So that, and then, okay, so that's how you place it. And then you're going to, let's say that's right how you want it. That's what you want it for this. You want a watermark that looks like that. You click save and it's going to ask you to name the preset. It asks you regardless of what the picture is. If it's one you've already used a watermark for, it doesn't matter. It always asks you to name the preset. And so I personally like to title them whatever the name of the photo is, because then when I go back to export it, it'll be easy for me to remember which watermark fits correctly on that picture. So I'm going to name this one. I'll use a different picture for the next one. So I'll name this one Play It First, because that's what I titled it in Club, Play at First. And then I'll create that watermark by hitting create. Now to apply that watermark to my picture, I need to export my picture. So I'll get into the export menu. And there is a drop down for watermarking right here. So you click to turn the watermark on, and then in your drop down, you find that one. This is why I was saying I kind of name it whatever the picture was. So the one that I named it was Play It First. So I will pick that watermark, and I'm going to dump this onto my desktop for easy finding later. And then you hit export. And now I have it on my desktop, watermarked. And I don't think you can see it though. Let me. Do you guys see it? I can't find it on my computer. Do you
We
guys?
see it.
I see it.
Okay. It's like behind some window somewhere. I don't know where it is, but you guys see the watermark on there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that's how you would put on a text if you wanted to write text on there. Now I'll go back with a different image. I will use this one, I think. No, this one here. Here's my other image from Digital Night last week. And so this one I'll show you how to insert graphic. Same thing, I'm going to go to edit and edit watermarks. And then in the top right corner, I'm going to pick graphic. And it's going to pop up a box for me to pick what graphic do I want to use. I have my logos stored right here in this file. I learned just the other day that if you, and maybe this is common knowledge, but if it's a PNG file, PNG, that means that it has a transparent background. So those are the ones that I prefer to use. And I'll show you what I mean the difference on. So this one is a PNG and it has a transparent background. So if I pick that one, you can see it down there. It's in the bottom left corner. And you can see right through it. If I choose the one that is what is this one? JPEG. It is white on white, and I should pick a different one to show you that. So here's the PNG file, and then here's the JPEG. So you can see that and you might have a use for both. You might not always want it to be transparent. I think I'll go with the black on this one, transparent. And then the rest of the steps are just the same. I would prefer to have it over in this corner, and I'll probably put it about a size 12. And I would like to have it, oops, my mouse got away from me, inset a little bit more and inset vertically. And then I would probably bring my opacity down to dull it down a little bit. And then again, so there's my watermark on there. I'll click save and it'll ask me to name it, and I'll name this one Sidecar and create that. And then to apply that to my picture, I need to export it using that watermark menu in the export.
Can you add a color to your watermark even on a black and white photo?
Well, the colors that they give you the option of are all grayscale.
Mm.
But if I picked a graphic, and do you mean like one of my
Yeah.
one of
try.
my color? Yeah, you can pick one of those totally. So I could pick like this one, and
So
it
what-
would put it in there put it on there in color.
Once you save it though, it's that color. You can't change the color.
Right. Once you've exported it, you can't change the color. Or even after you save this as like a preset, if I saved this one as sidecar, it's always going to be green and red like that.
Tamra,
Tamra,
Is that your question?
Thank you.
Okay.
Tamra, I've got a question.
Yep.
When you say export it, where do you export it to?
Well, in Lightroom, when you take a photo, I'm working with raw files in Lightroom. And so anything that I've done to it is only temporary in Lightroom. It's not permanent to the picture until I take it out of Lightroom and make it permanent on my computer. So Lightroom uses a function called exporting to get those pictures accessible outside of its program.
Right, but but where does it go when you export it? Where
You tell it where to go. So when you
Okay.
export it,
Okay.
this very first box up here, the export location is asking you where to send it.
Okay,
And
so,
I just told it to go to my desktop so I could find it quickly for you.
okay,
Tamra, I have a question. I
Yep.
didn't know you could do this. So if you just scroll down in the, what you have here, scroll down to watermark.
Yep.
I do mine from here, where it's a, you scroll and then it says, you could, there's that arrow to give you choices.
Yep.
Oh,
and then there's
okay.
edit there also.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I
okay.
didn't know that was there.
Yeah, I've always done it that way, so I've learned something too.
And I don't know what this simple copyright one is either. It
Oh,
might
it's really just a
automatically.
plain one. It just, it's lowercase and it has a C in front of it.
Yeah.
If you
And it
click on,
probably just puts whatever is in your metadata for copyright information.
yes, I think you're right. So where did you get your Tamra McGee? The way you have it designed? Did you have it
Yes,
designed?
there's a gal named Amy. If anyone knows her last name, go ahead and tell me. Russo, Amy Russo. And she, for a while, was doing designs on her iPad. And it's possible that it's something she still does. And if you guys are interested, I can reach out to her and ask if I can share her information.
Yeah, I went through Photo Logo, but it wasn't fun like yours was.
Yeah, she designed it on like an iPad program. I don't, beyond my skill set. I don't know. I said, here's my idea. And she sent it back to me. And I said, yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Great. It's nice. It's very nice.
Any other questions? All right. Well,
How
thank
do you get rid of one, Tamara?
What do you mean by that?
You want to get rid of that trademark and start another one?
Well, each picture will get its own. So you can make as many as you want. So it's not on your picture until you export it. So it just kind of sits in a toolbox of here's all the different ones you can use that you've created.
So,
And-
yeah, I had a picture that it put a watermark on it. And I went back in and I could not get it to take the watermark out. It stayed. I just had to live with it. It's a picture that I, because of the watermark, I can't enter it in any competition. But how would you get rid of it in that case?
When you export it, there's an option to either add the watermark or not add the watermark.
Okay.
It's a little
I'll
check
have to
box.
play with it because I think I tried, not having the watermark and it wouldn't go away. It was like it was there forever.
So what
And
might
that's fine. I don't have the picture on my computer anymore anyway.
what might have happened, Colleen, is you might have exported it with a watermark and then re-imported it into Lightroom And then when it's re-importing, it's a JPEG and it's already permanent on there.
No, I didn't re-import it because I still have the original picture there, so I don't know. But it doesn't matter. I just thought if you knew how you could undo it, that would be awesome.
I don't clone stamp it out. I don't know.
I tried that.
Well, what
Right.
I would do is make a watermark on a copy.
Yeah.
And
Colleen,
always keep a clean original.
Yeah,
Well, I
that's a
didn't
good
even
idea.
know it was watermarking, so I was like, where did that come from? Oh,
Yeah, that sounds familiar too.
Steve
Tamra?
Shining, just a second. Steve Shining, did I answer your question all the way?
Yes,
Okay. Yes.
Tamra,
Yeah. I don't know who's
Would-
talking. Jean. Okay, Jean.
would you ever use an opacity of 0?
I think it would go, I don't think you'd be able to see it. I think it would
Yeah.
be completely transparent.
Yeah, okay.
Colleen,
Thank you.
I want to ask, Colleen, was your original picture that you have the watermark stuck on, was it a JPEG to start with?
no, it was a raw file that I
Start
had
with the raw.
worked on. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
I don't need,
just a question.
it doesn't matter.
I can imagine you could go all the way down to the beginning if you don't mind redoing all of the editing. Can't you go to the original picture and then just start all over again?
You don't need to
At
do
this
that, Nora.
point, no, because I don't have the picture anymore. But I
Oh.
don't know if that would, doing the undos, once it's been published, I don't know that you can go back, you know what I mean? I don't think you can go back and
When
change things.
you initially export it, you have the option of including the watermark or not. There's a
Right.
checkbox. It's about 3/4 of the way down on the left-hand side. If you
Right.
uncheck that, then the watermark won't show up when you export.
Right, well, for some reason, at some point, I had clicked it without even knowing it. So I learned my lesson. I learned something from that mistake.
So just-
Oh, no.
Well, thank you guys for letting me present. I felt like I kind of came unprepared and blazed through it kind of fast. So feel free to reach out if you have other questions and
No, you
I
did
found it helpful.
feel
Since I've
free,
never done
feel free to tell me I'm not welcome to teach anymore.
it. Actually, we're counting on you next month, right?
What's that?
You're already scheduled for March, aren't you?
Oh, I think I am. Yep.
Lightroom. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Okay,
You can, if you give me plenty of notice, I can find somebody else, like if your school is overwhelming you or anything.
Oh,
So
gosh,
just let me
no.
know.
No, not at all. But we'll chat because I have an idea. I have an
Okay.
idea about something else. So no, I don't mind it at all.
Okay.
I was just being funny. Just a long day today. It was a long day. I haven't even thought about my club entries for tonight. Oh,
Thanks.
no.
Yeah, and I didn't send out a reminder. Here's your reminder, everybody, tonight.
So since you didn't send out that reminder, we get an extra night, right?
Oh, please, yes.
You always ask Dennis. I could ask him for you.
ask Dennis.
You know, he's probably fine with it. How many would like me to ask Dennis for one more night?
Oh, sure, why not?
I'll ask him. Okay. And when he
Mug look on your.
when he
Thanks for the
says
vote.
okay, then I will send a reminder to the whole club.
Oh, good, then maybe I could put my first entry for the year in tonight.
Yay.
It'll be my third
Awesome.
entry for the year, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Tamra.
Yes,
Good
thank you.
job.
You're welcome.
And so now we have either Colleen or Tim who would like to go next. Who would like to go next?
I can go next.
Wait,
Okay.
doesn't matter. It's fine. Go ahead, Colleen.
Are you sure, Tim? You can go if you want to.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, Moon, go lay down, go. All right. I was asked to show you guys how to turn your photograph into swirls, like some of us entered for the abstract. So let's see what happens here. Oh, yay. So I have a little PowerPoint here first. So can you all see that?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see. Can you still see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yay. So from photo to swirl art, and what I'm going to show you here are some before and afters. So this is a cone flower that I took up at Manitou and turned it into this beautiful swirl.
That's pretty.
You might recognize this one. This is the sunflower that I used to turn this one into a swirl. And when Tim judged it, he thought I should crop it. So that's what it looks like cropped, Tim. I hope that meets your approval.
I knew what it looked like, crop.
Actually, I like it. You don't have to do flowers, which is really cool. So this is Heceta Head Lighthouse. And so I swirled it. This is what it turned out when I finished it. And I decided that I wanted to crop it because I wasn't real excited about this. And I hadn't even thought about cropping these or, working on them further until Tim suggested doing some cropping. So I cropped it about here and I still didn't like the way it looked. I put this up into the third spot here. And I didn't like that it was going to the left. So I flipped it. And this was the result. And I really liked it. It kind of made my body relaxed. And I thought it was a much better presentation. You've got your swirl in the little third quadrant right there. And I really liked that. Like I said, you can even do people and animals. So this gentleman, this was taken in Spangle at that roping contest. And so I turned him and his horse into that particular swirl, which I thought turned out kind of interesting. This dog is one of our clients at the dog club, and they come in and train frequently. So I decided to play with the picture that I had taken of her and came out with all these beautiful purples. And I thought, wow, I really like that one. Here's a bunch of flowers all together, again from Manitou. And I think on this one swirl was tighter than the other. And then here's Moon. And so I swirled him. This would be the fence, probably what he's sitting on. The swirls in the middle are the ribbon.
That's pretty.
And what I really liked about it, and this one, I think I did 2 different size swirls. But it gave me 2 separate spots. And I really thought that was cool. And then again, this is up at Manitou. And this was the tower of tulips that they had put up as a display. And so I turned those into swirls quite a while ago. And I played with it and wanted to see what it would look like 3 different ways. So this was the original. This was my second one. And this is the third one that I did. Same as I didn't re-swirl these. There's different choices, blending choices that you can make. And I really like this blending choice because I feel like I can walk right in here to that center, which I thought was cool. Okay, so that's the end of my little light show. So let me open up. Okay. And that's what I want. So can you see it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I start out with my flowers or my subjects. I start everything out in Lightroom. So that's where this is sitting right now is Lightroom. You can make your adjustments and whatever you want in Lightroom. And then I send it, Command E, or you could go up to the window and I don't have that one up there. I'm gonna send it to Photoshop, and it's gonna edit in Photoshop. And there's a reason why I send it from here to Photoshop, so it's gonna take it a second to go to Photoshop, I think. Come on. Will it go to, maybe it won't go to Photoshop in here.
No, it should.
It should.
No.
Just sending an edit to the, that's just telling it, that's a command to send it back to Lightroom when you're finished.
No,
I-
no, this command sends me to, I'll do it this way.
Edit in, okay.
I'll go that way.
What was that, a Command E? I don't use those, Command E, okay.
Yeah, I do a lot of short calls. I do a lot of keystrokes.
Colleen, it may be behind this window.
Oh, could be.
Try moving that window around. Is Photoshop, do you have your icon for Photoshop somewhere? Can you
Yeah.
click that? I don't see the left edge of your screen, so.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to open in here. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Okay, well, I'm gonna see if that'll open. Nope. No way. Oh, well, here it is here. Oh, come on. Because the file isn't in there. So since this is not letting me edit, and that should send me right to Lightroom, or not Lightroom, but to Photoshop, but it's
Click
not.
your
Oh,
little,
I know why. I know. I bet it's because I don't have Photoshop open.
It should open Photoshop.
Should open it.
Open it up.
see, we're still looking at your Lightroom. Try your
Right.
little yellow minimize button up in the top left there.
But it was not opening up Photoshop. Oh, wait.
It's not closing that one either, apparently.
No. Hold on. My computer is going to die.
That's kind of pretty though.
Yeah.
Almost. Okay, so,
Take a screenshot, enter it.
oh, sure. All righty, hold on just a second here. I can do
I
this.
think that last one was called the Colleen funnel effect.
Okay.
Do you need to be in the develop module?
Oh, I think she needs
I
to be in the
shouldn't have to
development.
be in develop.
Yes, that's it.
I shouldn't have.
Go to develop, yeah, go to
Go
develop.
to develop, now do edit in Photoshop.
Oh, see, it's telling me the file can't be found. I think that's interesting because I swirled it the other night.
Well.
Well, hold on here.
Yeah, I think to export it, you have to be in library.
Well, to bring in Photoshop, I think you need to be in develop, don't you?
No.
Yes, you do.
But she's still in develop in Lightroom.
Right.
Oh, thanks for telling me that. Would you quit?
Oh,
See, it's telling me the file can't be
Okay.
found.
Maybe
Excuse me.
under open recent.
Oh.
We all go through
Oh,
this.
honestly, I hate this bell.
We all, you don't like that sound?
Oh, I hate that bell.
You can change it.
Okay, well, so here, I'm just gonna go pick another
Colleen,
photograph.
Colleen,
What?
you see that little exclamation mark up in the upper right corner of that down in your Lightroom, number 2?
Yeah, I see that.
That tells us that Lightroom's link to the file no longer exists. So you've
Yeah, I don't know
removed
why.
the file. So just try a different file.
I am. I'm gonna just go to a different flower. Something different.
Yeah, just pick
So I'll
something.
go to this one and see if that'll send it. Yay. So we're now in Photoshop. So what I'm gonna, all of this is done with the filter
No,
tab.
you're still in
We're
Lightroom.
seeing Photoshop. We're
I-
still seeing Lightroom.
Hey, can you see Photoshop now?
No,
No,
not the
No.
funnel effect.
Colleen,
You need to be in develop.
Hey, Colleen, in order to share Photoshop, you have to stop sharing and then reshare when you switch programs.
Oh,
So you'll have to stop your share and then reshare with Photoshop.
once you get it open.
once you get it open. Yeah, I think she's right.
Thank you, Tamra.
You're welcome. Sorry, I'm multitasking, so I didn't realize.
I appreciate multitasking.
I was in the other room.
Okay, can you see it now?
No,
no,
Did you click stop share?
I can't find anything right now.
Down at the bottom.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
There you go. Now do share screen again. And you'll need to select Photoshop this time. So as you move back and forth between programs, you'll have to do that every time.
Can you see it now?
Not yet.
Is that Texas food, Dora?
Okay, so Tamara,
Yep.
share screen first, right?
Yep, share screen. Then
And
select
then
Photoshop.
and nothing's coming open. It's not opening.
Are you clicking share? There
here
you
it
go.
comes. Here we go.
There you go.
Do you see it?
Not yet.
Almost.
White screen, see a
See
pencil.
that?
I think you shared the whiteboard. Go ahead and do stop share again, because I think, there you go. I think that was the whiteboard. So try it again.
Okay, so Photoshop should be open though, right?
You should already have it open before you hit share screen.
Now.
Has anyone asked what that noise is yet?
Yeah,
The-
what
the
is that
dinging?
noise?
The
Yeah.
ding, that's my
Yeah.
computer.
Oh.
You can set that up
Oh,
in
no.
preferences.
And so I can't, you guys, I can't get it open.
Well, Colleen, would
Can
you
you-
like to let Tim go first and come back to this part?
Sure, I don't care, but I don't know that I'm gonna be able to get it open afterwards either.
That means education
Colleen,
for next month.
Colleen, just get out of Zoom. So minimize Zoom and then transfer like you normally would over to Lightroom, from Lightroom to Photoshop. And then once you've got it in Photoshop, open Photoshop on your desktop. And then it'll be there, and then you can go ahead and swirl it.
And we all have sympathy for you because we've all
Yes.
struggled with things like this.
Okay, so Greg, it's open. And so
It needs to be on your desktop.
it's
And
on my
then-
desktop.
And then now you need to go back into Zoom and then share screen.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Greg, thank you.
Perfect.
Good job,
I
Greg.
get so frazzled, I'm
I
sorry.
think it was David,
Thank you,
not Greg.
everybody.
Oh,
Was it
good job,
David? Oh, whoever
job,
it
David.
was. Thank you.
Good
But I'll
job.
take credit. I'm happy.
Team effort, team effort.
All right, whoever helped me, thank you so much. All right, so what you're gonna do, you're gonna do everything in filter, all right? So the first thing you're going to do is you're gonna come down to pixelate. And you're gonna go to mezzo tint. I'm gonna give you guys a chance to, I'm gonna try not to be in hyper speed here. So I'm gonna open up mezzo tint. When you open it, your picture looks real funky. There's a whole bunch of dots and stuff there. If
Mhm.
you go to the bottom, it says type. You're gonna open that up And you can play with any of these. They'll all kind of do something a little bit different. I'm going to do medium lines for tonight. I would suggest that you combine like my lines with dots and see what kind of effects you get. When you do that, it uglifies your picture. Click OK. And now your picture looks horrible. You're going to go back up to filter. You're going to go to blur.
Hang on.
You okay? You with me?
All right, then blur, okay.
Then you're going to go down to radial blur. Look at everybody taking notes. Love this. I'd have been a good college professor. And you're going to click on radial blur. Once you're in radial blur, you've got this here that says amount. You want that to be at 100%. Blur method, top right here, you want it on zoom. And it makes all the lines go wee.
Method.
Okay, is everyone with me?
Almost. Yeah.
Almost.
Okay.
All right. So you can choose draft, good, or best. Best takes a little longer to render. For tonight's purposes, I'm going to use good. And I'm going to click OK. And look what it did to my picture. Now, in the tutorials that I followed, they said, do that 2 or 3 times. So I'm going to go back up to my filter bar. And at the very top here, it says radial blur. That was my last thing I did. I'm going to click it again. And it changed, it made it a little fuzzier. I'm going to do it a second time and see how it changes it. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to distort. And in distort, I'm going to go to twirl. You got that, Jean?
Almost.
I'm watching you. I can see you.
I'm,
You're mumbling to yourself. Like,
you're right. Distort. Okay. Sorry.
and I'll be going through this a second time. So,
Okay.
so I'm going to go to twirl and I'm going to take it to the left and it's going to give it a negative number. And I'm going to do negative 139. So if you see right here, so what I used was the slider box. And that determines how much twist you're going to get. I mean, you can twist a whole lot. And I would suggest that you play with that and sometimes experiment with 2 different size twists. So I've got this at a negative 139. And I'm going to click OK.
Colleen,
Yes.
it feels like in my memory, you kind of have to do the negative one first.
You can do either one first. You can do either one first.
Okay.
Oh, I like that.
Like that, huh? I was going to do better.
It's like
All
a
right.
Aurora Borealis.
Kinda. All right. So, yikes. So, oh, shoot. You know what I forgot? I
What?
can't believe I did that. Okay, I have to undo everything I did.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's okay.
The first thing, okay, you guys, up at the top of your notes. When you look down here where your layers bar, make a couple of copies. That's what I forgot to do.
Oh.
Make a couple of copies. My bad. My bad. But this gives you guys a chance to see me go through it again. So filter to pixelate to mezzotint to medium lines. Filter to blur to radial blur, and it will stay set at that point. And so I'm okay with the way it's set. All right. I don't know what I didn't do. Mezzo tint.
What was the third thing you did on the list? Begins with a P. My handwriting's not great right now.
Well, now my picture's not working.
You have a crop thing on there.
Yeah, it has to be there.
That's because you're on the top layer.
Yeah, that
Um,
indicates my layer. Let's try this again.
Evelyn, it was pixelate.
You're going to pixelate and then to mezzo tint.
Yeah.
Pixelate and then.
Click, okay, there we go. So now I've got the ugly picture. I'm going to go back to filter. I'm going to blur to radial blur. It's going to do that. I'm going to do that 2 more times just because. Okay. From here, I'm going to go to distort. Down to twirl. And it's a -139. That's where I had it. So there we go. So now you want to go to your next picture down. So I'm over here in my layers box. I'm going to click on that picture. I'm going to turn off my background picture.
Go slower here, please.
See? Hyper speed.
Okay.
And I open something that I don't want to open. Cancel. All right. So turn that one off. No. My God. Fine. So this obviously there. Again, so on this one, sent me to the wrong one. Okay. This must be the other one. So I'm gonna go there, go there. I want to go to radial blur. There we go. That's better. And so I'm hitting that radial blur twice. You could do, you could hit your radial blur. You could do that 3, 4, 5 times, or just once, or however many times. So again, this is something to play with and experiment with. After radial blur, I'm going to distort down to twirl. And I did a -139. Now I need to slide the bar over so that it's a +139 or close to 139. So you're making it twirl the other direction. So one twirled to the left, the other one twirled to the right. Okay. So I like that, and I'm going to leave it. Now, this is where the magic happens. Can you hide that? Hold on. Let me. Oh, that's better for me. So the magic happens now. In the layers box down here, does everyone see where I'm at? Okay. I'm going to keep my background off. I'm going to turn on my top background and I'm going to highlight it. If you don't highlight it, you won't see the result. Up above it, you've got this, it says normal. This is your blending modes. And if you open it up, you have all of these different ways to blend the 2 of these pictures together. Here's darken, multiply, color burn, linear. You don't have to write those down. Lighten is a real popular one. Screen, that's kind of cool. Color, no. Linear, no. Lighter color, that one's kind of okay. I like the lighten better. Overlay, soft light, hard light, vivid, linear. Sometimes I like pin light, but not tonight. hard mix. Difference is really cool because it gives it that plaid look, which is
Oh,
kind of
wow.
fun. Yeah, oh wow. Exclusion, subtract, divide. I'm gonna go up to lighten. And there's my swirl. Now what I do with this swirl, and what I want to do, David, is I want to go back to Lightroom and I want this to end up in Lightroom. How am I going to do that? I'm going to try this. So I'm going to stop my share for a minute.
You need, yeah, minimize zoom and then go back and just transfer it from Lightroom in on your desktop over to Lightroom.
Oh shoot, did I just?
And then put Lightroom back up on your desktop.
Okay. Let's unminimize you. Go back to share screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yep, yeah.
Hey, I'm getting better and better. Okay, so I need to slide this over. One of the things you can do with this when you're done is you've got it back in Lightroom and oops, sorry, moving things around. Where'd my swirl go? There it is. And I want to go into develop. And in develop, it enlarged a whole lot and I don't know why. Oh, okay. In develop, you've got all your slider bars and you can play with those. I played with temperature and temperature can really change things. So can the tint. Ooh, that's kind of pretty. I don't do much with exposure or contrast. But what I do like to do is come down to presence. And I like to just slider bar my texture all the way up and slide my clarity all the way up. And I don't care what the histogram looks like. I can play with my dehaze and I don't like any of that. I can change my vibrance. I can work with saturation, but be careful using those because you can really make this look real neon-y and it'll just burn your eyeballs out. So, and you can also, I think I would even crop this one in. I've got a nice kind of a trillium look here. I might even just highlight that and I might even, might even turn it a little bit so that you can play with it. You can't do anything wrong with this particular, see, and I like the corner to the corner kind of look too. Kind of makes your eye flow around. So that's my presentation. Thank you for hanging in there with me.
One other thing, Colleen, you can also go down and edit individual colors.
Colors?
You can go down and
down
edit
here.
individual colors. Yeah, go down.
Yes,
and
you
basically go into, not that one, but the
here.
Color
HS.
grading. She has a more recent model of Lightroom than we do. We don't have that.
Which one did you?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, you're right, David. Isn't that fun?
We don't have
Isn't
that
that
in
fun?
Lightroom.
Colleen,
The individual colors and all.
Where you can adjust the various colors. Highlights, shadows, or
I hear you, but someone else is
Yeah,
talking.
yeah, I'd love to.
Why don't you just
Tamra?
mute yourself,
This is Jean. How
Oh,
did
Jean.
you send it back to Lightroom?
I just turned off, I told it to save.
Yes.
I saved it. I clicked the turn off, the red button in the left corner. I clicked that off. And it
Okay.
asks me if I want to save it. And of course I'm going to save it. And the reason why I have 3 is so that I have a before and after of my picture.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I do all three, is so I can remember what it looked like before and what it is afterward.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So any other questions? Yay, Tim.
Thank you, Colleen.
Good job.
Yeah.
Thanks,
That's-
you guys. Okay, yes, I really want to go away.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Colleen.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're welcome. That's, it
Yeah,
was
that
fun.
was
I
good.
enjoyed it.
That was fun. I think everybody should, that's on Facebook, should share them tomorrow or the next day, whenever you get a chance. Make some and put them up on Facebook.
Yeah. And remember, you can twirl anything. I actually, and this is a huge no-no. There's somebody had posted on Facebook this really amazing red sunset. And I actually pulled it off and did a twirl. I mean, you know, you're not supposed to do that. So, and I would never pass it off as my own work. And I don't know if you remember, I posted one, I called it Fire and on Facebook. And that was that sunset. And it just looked really, really cool when I was done. So you can twirl anything. People, kids, animals, horses, whatever. All right.
Okay, thanks.
All
Colleen.
right.
Okay. Tim, are you ready?
Yes, okay. Well, I don't know how much what I have will be of interest to how many people here, because it's really very basic layers stuff. And I kind of picked up, remember when Tamra gave the presentation here a while back where she was doing cloning and spotting in Lightroom, and then she moved it to Photoshop and was clone stamping, was a picture of the Govan school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, anyway, what I'm kind of doing here is just kind of taking it a step further from that. I think she was doing the clone stamping just on the base layer. And so this is just very basic start to layer. So I'm looking at who's here. Probably most of you already know most of this, but anyhow. So and my reason for doing this is I think that the cloning and spotting tools in Photoshop are just night and day better than the ones in Lightroom. You don't have to go chasing the little circles that somewhere go, you know, I've been retouching things on people's face and it's something on their cheek and it gets an eye. I have no idea how Lightroom figures that stuff out. You know, taking spots off a car fender and I get a headlight. Like what? And I don't understand that. And so the thing with the Lightroom or the, let me do this share screen thing here. Okay, that's right. Okay, you should see that now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, the spotting tool in Lightroom is content aware. So it bases what it fixes on what's around it, and it doesn't send those circles. You don't have to go chasing those circles around. So I find it infinitely faster. But the first thing, I'll show you, just for instance, I'm going to start with the, okay, where am I? Oh, never mind. I have to get out of Lightroom, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I'm drawing a blank here. Why is this not edit in?
Tim, you have to do it, you have to get out of Zoom to do it and then put the
Oh,
Photoshop on your
that's the thing
desktop.
again. Okay.
Like I did, minimize Zoom.
So I have to stop sharing. Oh, wait a minute. Are
Yes.
you seeing this? This is in Photoshop.
No, it's Lightroom.
You're still seeing Lightroom? Okay,
Yes.
I'll stop share. And then reshare this one.
Okay.
Now you have like Photoshop.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Anyway, okay, so boy, this window looks really different. I like that little green border on it, bugs me. So anyway, just a quick shot at like the clone tool to stamp. For instance, if I wanted to get rid of some of this shadow, and a couple other things I wrote down here that if people don't know about these, where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So one of the first things I always do, and Colleen already touched on this, I will almost always duplicate this background layer, and I just do that with Control or Command J. Well, I think I will. Cancel that. Okay, there we go. And then I will turn off the one that says background. That's my fail safe. If everything goes haywire, I can always get my original back. And that may not be so important if you're coming out of Lightroom because you still have it there generally, but anyway,
I can't see your panel on the, for your tools or anything. All I see is the photo.
you can't see them, you say?
Oh,
No.
Kim, if you would grab the edge of your Photoshop and slide it so that it slides closer. I don't know if you can see me. You grab an edge and you slide it in, grab the other edge and slide it in so we can see the toolbars.
Now what happened here?
You get a double arrow and you can slide it.
Yes, yes, I'm just trying to find it.
While you're doing that, I'm amused at Judith and David. They keep fading in and out in such bizarre ways.
They need a green screen.
Something like that.
What they have.
No,
Just a second.
go to the edge.
There we
Kim.
go. Can you see it now?
No,
No,
you just slide it in farther.
You can't see my,
All we see is the picture, Tim.
I
If
saw
you-
the circle for cloning a minute ago.
Yeah, all we see is the picture. If you go clear to the edge of your Photoshop, and not the picture, but all the way to the right on your toolbar, and you get a double-ended arrow, and you click and slide it to shrink your page. And I don't know.
To do that when we minimizes zoom and then does that separately. And then bring zoom back in.
say what? I have to exit Zoom?
Well,
Minimize it.
try minimize zoom. And then adjust the picture so that we're going to be able to see all of your entire Photoshop, and then bring zoom back in, and then
Okay.
put us on the desktop. Or share, I mean.
Okay. Zoom share. To bottom. Well, that's not what I want.
Evelyn, how
Stop
was your
share.
dog?
Just
Now,
fabulous as you could expect.
Is she chewing everything because she's still a puppy?
Getting control of that. If there's a handkerchief or a sock on the floor, yeah, she'll eat them.
You have horns coming out of your head. Your flower.
Here we go.
I'm sorry, I can hardly hear if I'm not looking at it, so.
It's a crown, Colleen.
Oh, crayon. I beg your pardon.
So I need to share screen. Now it
Okay.
just says whiteboard.
Do you
So
have
is she
Photoshop
hou-
on?
so is she housebroken, Evelyn?
Pardon?
Is she housebroken yet?
Pretty much better than her 1 month younger cousin.
Tim, is your Photoshop on?
So we're proud of
Your Photoshop open.
Well, I just minimized it. Just a second.
Okay.
Here's Photoshop. Okay, I'm looking at it, but now I don't have my picture. Oh, that's probably gonna be,
So
wait a
go to
second.
share screen. I don't know, David might be more help.
There. Get involved.
You know,
Tim, try, when you share, try setting the percentage of share down to 50%.
okay,
That's
so
on-
I'm looking
should
at it on my. Okay, why can't I get share screen? Share.
Yay.
Can you see that now?
You can
Yeah.
see the picture.
But
But
not
just
the tools.
right side?
No.
Just the picture.
Should be up at the
Picture.
top. Up at the top, Tim, it lets you set the percentage. See if you reduce it to 50% instead of fit screen or to 100.
Where do I find that?
Where it
Should
says
be up at the
view
top.
options.
Up
View
at the-
options, why at the top?
I'm looking, it says mute, stop video, participants, new share, pause share. I don't see any percent. Is this, are you talking about in Lightroom or in Zoom?
No,
In
in
Zoom.
Zoom.
In
It
Zoom?
says-
Up
in
at the
Zoom
top of your
it
screen on
should say
Zoom.
View options.
Or,
Did you get that, Tim? At the top of your screen where you can turn off the Zoom view, there should be Zoom options. Nope.
I see mute, stop video, participants, new share, pause share, annotate, remote control, and more has,
View share.
pardon?
Did you have a view share?
Says view options, I think is what it says.
No, I don't see that.
At the top?
Top right-hand corner, Tim,
Yeah.
it says view.
Second, I've got this back on top now.
Oh, also, I think what David was saying was right at the tip top, right in the center, view options.
I see.
Okay. I don't see anything that says options.
In the middle, Tim? At the top?
At the very top. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All I see
You
is
see what I'm looking at the very top right now?
No,
It says mute, stop video, participants, new share, pause share, annotate, remote control, and more.
okay, yeah. I think that goes away when he's in he's in share screen mode. So when he's in share screen mode, you don't see what we're seeing at the top.
Yeah.
well,
And Lynn, here's the dog.
Okay, I just hit stop share.
Where is he?
Right there.
Hi there.
oh,
Oh, cute.
what a face. Oh my gosh, he's so cute, Evelyn.
How old again, Evelyn?
Pardon?
How old again?
How old is she? I think she's about 6 months.
You think?
Well, I don't know. They just, said, here's your dog.
Where did they get her?
Are you?
We got her at a pound, not a pound, but a place where they raise.
Tim, slide your cursor all the way back up to the top.
Do what?
Slide your cursor up to the top.
I am at the top.
Okay. Now slide it left or right. Okay, never mind.
Nothing happens.
Okay, because I saw view options just a second ago when you were. Well, can you just give us really good directions on what to click on and we'll just go ahead and go on? What do you
Yeah,
think?
well, we can just watch your actions on the screen.
Yeah, and you can just tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, what tools to use.
You can see the picture, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
now we can see your little circle.
You see my cursor there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't see it over here.
Nope.
Oh. Now we can, see.
So
Now we can see it.
it's sharing the picture, but it's not sharing the Photoshop.
Correct.
Because you need to shrink your Photoshop page, but you can't do it. So
He knows how to do that.
My
What
my
happens-
son-in-law has a business where he teaches people how to use all this technology. She just telling me better start in on Zoom.
Mhm. Did you try clicking on the green button to make it a little bit smaller? You clicked on the yellow, but I meant on the green, on the, up there, the same corner. On
Top
green.
left.
On
Now,
green,
which
instead-
button are we talking about?
right next to that on green,
Green will make it bigger.
but not necessarily. If it's already big, it'll make it smaller.
Oh,
upper left-hand corner, Tim, you
Yeah,
have
he
your
did.
red, yellow, green.
yeah, he clicked
did
on it.
it.
That's
Oh, okay.
smaller,
Click
but
on the green.
Well, there's two things going on here, and I don't know which is controlling what. Why do I have this green line around my picture?
It's
we
probably
don't see
what
that.
shared us.
It's supposed to do that?
The gray line.
It's probably a share thing, a Zoom thing.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's great.
Stop share. Okay, now when I click over here, it's like photo, no, it's there. Crop. Yeah. Okay, Photoshop is working normally here. Well, except that I can't grab the edge of it. Yes, I can.
Slide it to your left.
Yeah.
Okay, now share screen, and there I see my Adobe Photoshop. Share, okay. I still don't see where you see this percent thing. Never shows up anywhere. Can you see all my screen now?
Nope, just the picture.
All we see is the picture, but go ahead and tell us what you're doing and tell us what tools you're clicking on.
All right.
Make your adjustments.
Well, I have no idea how this works, apparently. I think it has to do, well, anyway.
Can you make the picture smaller by pushing command and minus?
That?
You know what I mean? Make it smaller. I mean, the picture is really big in this frame. You see
Well,
what I
now
mean?
it made it really small. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened there.
Yeah, well, sorry about that.
So as of now, you can't see any of my Photoshop window, right?
We see,
Right. A bit.
We see it teeny tiny stamp size picture inside.
The edge of a mountain.
You know what? How about if I just close this?
Good.
Don't save. I am going to quit Photoshop and re-enter it.
if in doubt, reboot.
Good. I like it.
Go to Lightroom. One.
That puppy is so,
And E.
Isn't she though?
so cute.
He goes on 4-mile walks with Keith.
Oh.
Months and comes home just as happy as can be. Or just was
Lightroom.
Oh, Evelyn, there's a saying, a tired dog is a happy dog.
she's happy.
There you go.
Can you see it now?
We
Hey,
see
Tim.
your
The
picture.
picture. Just your picture.
So don't worry about the rest of it, Tim.
Well, that baffles me. Why is it that, anyway, well, Man, a whole bunch of what I wanted to do had to do with seeing the layers palette though.
Yeah.
Oh.
Does this green line around my picture, shouldn't that be out around the Photoshop?
I don't see your green line.
I
I
don't see
see
a
a
green line.
You have
cropping.
your crops, you have your crop line up.
Yeah.
That's on the picture.
The green line is outlining what part of your screen is being shared. So if all of Photoshop isn't in that green line, then you need to adjust it somehow.
Okay, that's what's not happening. How do I get the green line to? See, it's like it's almost seeing it as two programs. Like there's the part with the picture, and then there's Photoshop behind it.
I'm not sure.
Huh. You know what? Let me try something. No, that's not doing it. So if I close the picture, don't save. Now, let me try this. Now, do you see Photoshop?
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Okay, now how do I get my picture to open inside there?
What happens when you click on your picture?
Yeah, double click on your picture.
There you go. Perfect.
Yes, there you got it.
Really? Do you see?
Yeah,
Actually, now
something
you're
I'm
in
missing
camera
something
raw.
here.
No, semi tools.
Now you're in camera raw. We're seeing camera raw.
Yes, because I clicked on a raw picture. Well, let's just do open.
And there you go. And
Now
there's
you're
the layers
All
palette.
your tools are there.
Now
Good.
you got it.
Why can't I take it from Lightroom and do that?
Oh, I don't know.
Who knows? But
Is
you're
there a
there.
way to run Zoom without being zoomed to other people so I can test this? Ugh.
I don't know.
Okay, anyway, so now you,
Yeah, there is. You just open up Zoom by yourself someday and no, you can Zoom with just one person yourself. There's no problem. You
Yeah.
can play
We
around.
do
the way you
that.
want.
Yeah.
We do that before we get on to make sure we look good.
It helps you
well,
to
that baffles me, but
Jen,
anyway.
you always look good.
You do. Yes.
Dorothy, can you?
Okay.
Greg, I can't say much about you, Greg.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, now I've kind of lost my train of thought here. There's a couple things I wanted to show you. If you don't know these shortcuts, you see that window? If you go Command 0, it fills your workable screen. That's Command or Control, and Command or Control 1 bumps you up to 100%. That's kind of handy when you're looking around in a picture. You know, and then we take your space bar and you just move it around. But, okay, let's do this. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this Control J or Command J thing, duplicate the layer, and I turn that background layer off so that anything I do is on this layer 1, so I don't damage my original picture. And now, let's see, kind of lost track of what I was going to do here now. So if I take the clone tool, for instance, and another tip, I don't know how many of you have seen this. If you hold down Command and Option and hold your, oops, wrong one. Hold down, okay, on the Mac, it's Control and Option. On the PC, I think it's Control Alt. If you hold those two keys down and then you take your mouse button, you see how you slide it left and right, it makes the tool bigger and smaller. And if you slide it up and down, do you see the feathering? See how the feathering is changing?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So that's just a quick and easy way rather than going up here to your brush settings all the time. So anyway, I'm going to size that somewhere here. And now, so if, for instance, I wanted to clone out some of this shadow, I might click over here and just clone. Okay. Click over here and just clone across that shadow.
You do that.
And I can just remove that shadow, but you see that's on this layer 1. It's right on the layer. So the problem with that is if you did this on your original layer and then you do a whole bunch of other corrections to your image and save it, then that is now baked in permanent. You can't change that. You have to go back and re-edit if you want it to be different. So for instance, let's just say I did something like this. I'm going to pick something up here and I managed to, now let's do it further, drag this down. And I didn't see I did that. And then I saved the file. Now the only way to undo that is to go in and try to edit this out by copying stuff. So that's why I typically don't do retouching right on an image layer. Did that. So, you can at this point though, Control Z, you can just undo those. So that's not a problem if you haven't closed it. But if you've done a whole lot of other things, then if you start doing Control Z and you back down through you basically have to eliminate all of the things you've done since then till you get back to that point. So if it's something you've missed. So, I mean, a good case in point, I remember once I was editing some kind of portrait and I was fixing hair and I managed to wipe out someone's ear and actually didn't notice it till later. So anyway, what I will typically do, I just go down to this little box, same one that Colleen was dragging the layer down to. I duplicate that and you notice I have a transparent layer, totally transparent. So now, let me get rid of this one that I did this stuff on. Okay, so now if I go on this one, so now I want this layer active. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click and I'm going to just try to paint those trees clear across so I can get rid of that heavy shadow. Now, you notice if I click this blank layer on and off, you see those pixels are now on that blank layer. The layer below, my original layer, is still intact. So I can retouch something there. And let's just say I make one of these mistakes where I did something like that. And I've gone on and retouched a whole bunch of other stuff. And then I noticed that, you see, I can go back here on this blank layer now, and I can get the eraser tool and just erase it. Just wipe out my mistake. But my other work that I did is still intact. I don't have to redo that. So let me turn this layer back on again. And a good thing to do with well, let's just leave that. Okay, I've done my retouching that I want to do in this part. So now I'm going to make another new layer, blank layer. And this time I'm going to get the spotting tool. And first I want to zoom in a little bit. And you see, and you find these, at least I have, when you photograph ducks and geese, things on water. You got all this little crap floating around the water you want to get rid of. With the spotting tool, you just make it slightly larger, and that same trick of holding down command option, I can size my brush, and you just one click and it's done. I don't have to go hunting for that other little white loop if it went to the wrong place. So I can zip around and really quickly get rid of stuff. And if I want to, I can even drag it a little bit. And I've often found that if my brush is just not quite there, sometimes I just give it a little wiggle around it, and you can clean up all this stuff in the water. Now, this can be anything, can't it? It can be cigarette butts laying in the foreground of a scenic, Coke can laying over in the corner. It can be
Telephone wires,
I didn't hear.
telephone wires, electrical wires.
I'm sorry, that's not getting through my hearing aid, or it's not getting into my ear. But anyway, you know, these might be zits on a high school senior's face. Okay, so I may get do a whole bunch of this kind of stuff. And now I'm done with this area. So let's say I decide I want to go work over on this area. So I might make another layer, and I'm going to go down and do my retouching over here, clean things up.
Why another layer?
Yeah, why can't you just do it on that one?
Well, you can, but you'll see. The point of doing this on separate layers is maybe I might have one layer that's clean up foreground, another layer that's clean up something in a wall of a building. You know, when I get down, I'll show you something else here with a portrait, if I can get it to load again. But the idea behind this is what I want you to take from this is, now I'm going to go Control-0. There's my whole picture, but here's the deal. See, if I turn off my image, now you can see where I retouched. If I have to go back and hunt for something, I can see where it is. And by turning these other layers off, I can figure out which one it's on. Are you seeing that? Is that getting through?
Mhm.
You see, that layer is where I retouched in the middle. There's the one. Well, that's in the middle. This is on the right. And this is the one where I initially put that screen in. So it just gives you a lot of options to go back and correct mistakes. And for people who are new to layers, the idea, you know, and particularly if you're clone stamping and you get an area done just perfect the way you want it, maybe you want to just have that on its own layer, leave it alone, go clone stamp
We
something
got,
else, work on something else.
Education night from the Spokane Cameron Club I'm watching.
Okay, I don't
Yeah.
know what I got
Don,
here.
can you mute yourself?
Thank
How do
you.
we make this
Bye.
window bigger with the people in it? Oh,
Let
there
me
we go.
announce that this will not be on our Facebook page. We cannot edit this much.
This will what? I'm sorry.
It won't be on our Facebook page because there's too many
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. I don't think we need to do that.
for the whole session.
But
Tim, I used to do this by copying the layer and doing the clones on certain layers. I mean, on copies of layers. And I guess the advantage here is you're not making the size bigger, that much bigger. I mean, you don't have to have it a blank layer. You can do it on any layer.
You what? Say again?
Why a blank layer? Why not just a copy?
Because see here, if I take this basic picture layer and if I just keep duplicating it, my file pretty soon gets huge. And then see this, I'm going to move this to the top of the stack. Now, with that on, you cannot see anything below it. You see, you have to have, if you don't have this transparency, you have to have transparency to see it. And let me do this. Okay, you see, when I turn this off, where there are pixels on the left, that's as far down the stack as you can see at that point. You can't see what's down here. So if I try to do retouching on different picture layers, whichever one is at the top is going to govern. Does that make sense? Do you see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why can't you see through layer 2 to layer 1 if it's mostly transparent?
In this, the 2 that I have turned on here,
Yeah.
I can see from layer 1.
Oh, I
can
see what you
right
mean.
through layer 2,
Okay, I get
except
it.
where there are pixels.
Yeah, right.
Okay, you got to look at this blank layer like it's a sheet of glass.
Yeah.
If I put a piece of black paper over half of it, I can only see as far as the black paper. On the clear half, I can see the picture below. So this gives you a lot of advantages to structure what you do layer to layer. I think anybody who hasn't worked with layers, if you can learn this layering concept, because the real advantage to this in the end is selections and masks. That's where you really get control. But I just wanted to introduce this concept because we were, if for instance, I'm doing a bunch of clone stamping on this layer and it's my only layer, then I've changed those pixels. And if I later find I've made an error, I can't go back and fix it. But if I've done my changes on a blank layer, oh, the other thing I wanted to make sure, I said this was 2 clicks. One, you get a new layer. You also have to be sure at the top up here that it's okay. Now my little screen sharing thing came up over top of what I want to see. How do I turn that off? Anyway, up there, there's a checkbox up there where you have to say this layer and below. There, it finally went off. No, okay. See that checkbox that says sample all layers? You've got to have that on. If you don't have that on and you want to clone stamp, every time I go up there, that little black box comes on again. Dang it. Okay, now I've got the clone stamp one on here, and you see, okay, don't move the mouse. Right up at the top where it says current and below.
Yeah.
That has to say current and below. If it says current layer, you won't see anything when you stamp on a blank layer because it's copying transparency to transparency. It's copying nothing to nothing. So it has to have something to sample. So current and below means it's going to take the pixels from the layer below and put them on this blank layer. Well, that's pretty much what I wanted to try to get through to people who are new to layers and just starting. You have to know where your transparency is, or you can't, because you can't see through anything that's not transparent. And that's this little checkerboard pattern. All of this checkerboard pattern just means it's transparent. If I printed this picture as you're looking at it right now, this little stripe of brush is all that would print. Okay, now I want to wonder if I can even get this to work now. I'm just going to close this. Don't save. I want to go back to Lightroom. Let's try this one. Can you see that now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have this picture of this gal.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So this time, this is working. I don't know why I caught that green arrow before, or that green line before. Well, they used to do these fashion shows at the Garland Street Fair. And so one day I went out there and just took some pictures, and I've had this one in a file to retouch for retouching practice. So this, let's see, N0. Okay, you see behind here, I got these little shaded things that are in the background.
Mhm.
You can barely see them. Okay, so see this next layer, and this is something else you can do. See, I stamped those out, and you can label your layers. If I double click on that, see that? Now I can type a new name in there for that layer. So you don't have to remember if your stuff's on layer 1, layer 3, layer 6, you can type the name as you go. Okay, now if you look here on the arm, you see they got these little spots on her arm, and there's some little spots on her chest, a couple on this arm. So I went in and fixed those on the next layer. Then the next layer, I need to zoom in here. Zoom in. Okay. You see they've got these little bumps here and there on her skin. So I went in and cleaned those up on another layer. And I have some other things here that are probably harder to do. See this highlight on her cheek? It's pretty bright. I just stuck that. You can probably barely see that. Just knock that down. I don't want to eliminate it. I just want to minimize it so it's not so bright. And look at the point of her nose, and her chin has some pretty bright highlights. Same thing there. You should be able to see that happening.
Yes.
Okay. And then I did a little bit of work in her eyes. You won't be able to see that probably. Well, maybe. There's a couple of bright highlights and a little green stripe in her right eye. And you see all these stray flyaway hairs, and there's some hair across her forehead here. So I go in and I retouch the hairs. This last one is put a little highlight on the upper lip. And then she always looked kind of orange to me due to the lighting. So just a little light blue color grade to kind of make her skin look a little more normal. But I do these all on separate layers because then I can go back and adjust them. If I did all this on one layer, it makes it hard to fix or erase. I can take any one of these layers and just eliminate it, or I can go in here on this layer and actually erase part of that like I did before. Is this making sense or appear useful at all?
Making sense to me.
Yeah.
And you see here, I can option click on this eyeball. It turns off everything I did. So there's the before picture. And there's the after. And there's probably more, you know, if I wanted to make this into a really good print, I would probably do some more skin smoothing, some other things, but I just did this one this afternoon to try to illustrate how to use these different layers, but you notice they're all transparent. All of these layers up here are transparent, except this one with blue. And you know why you can see through that one?
Nope.
Opacity is only 6%. If I put that at 100, well, you still see through it because it's in color blend mode. If that was a normal, you see that? It would just, you don't have no opacity there. You're only going to see wherever the opacity is where you're going to stop when you're looking down through the stack. So if I turn that opacity way down, see, now I can start to see it, but it covers everything. I just changed the blend mode to color because I just wanted to provide color on the pixels. And that's still too bright. Let's turn that back down. You only need just a little bit to change the tint of that image a little. But basically, this is a way for people to start using layers and kind of learning how they work. And the next step from this, of course, is going to using layer masks and selections. if you want, just let me do this. Just to give you an idea where that goes. I'm going to change this back to normal. I'm going to turn this up to 100%. Now, if I put a black layer mask on that, you see that black mask? That blocks that. So I can get a brush, a white brush, and if I have the mask highlighted, I can paint that in. See, white will reveal this blue. Black will hide it. But now if I made a mistake, I just switch my brush to black and I can paint the black right back on the mask. There is a tremendous amount of control in being able to do that, to make little corrections in localized places using anything you want. You can take another layer and sharpen it, and then just paint your sharpening just on an object and not on the sky, because sometimes you sharpen the sky, you get grain in it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just we don't need to spend much time on masks because they really confuse people for a while. It takes working with them to get them, but the key
Yeah,
part is,
I get mine all intersecting and then I don't know what to do.
we get,
I'm with you, Lynn.
It's so confusing.
well, anyway, I have to apologize. I have a hard time hearing here because the voices they sound really tinny to me through in the hearing aid if it's not clear. Anyhow. Anyway.
Well, thank you, Tim.
Start with that if you're not using masks at all and go from there, I guess.
Okay, thank you. And I'm gonna ask Tim about giving us till tomorrow. I mean, not Tim. I'm gonna ask Dennis about giving us till tomorrow on entries, and I'll get back to you on that within about, as soon as he does, as soon as he gets back to me. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you so
everybody, for
much.
teaching.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
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 Have a
All right,
good
good
week.
night.
Bye.
Thanks, Tim.